Welcome to EP Daily. Today on the show, we catch up with Kermit and the gang in the Rundown.
Plus, they're here. We go behind the scenes of the latest Poltergeist movie.
What's going on? They're coming.
And then Marissa and I head to Disney's Tomorrowland for a review. Also coming up, Kristen Wiig gets serious in her new movie, Welcome to Me. Marissa gets all cooped up and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Newspapers like the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle are pretty good, but they ain't got nothing on the Rundown. It looks like Marvel and Sony have found their new Spider-Man. Multiple sources report that Hugo and Ender's Game star Asa Butterfield will play Spidey in the new films being developed by Marvel and Sony, which will see the iconic web slinger enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the first time. If Butterfield slips on the red mask, it will be the first time an actual teenager has portrayed the teenage hero on the big screen. The new Spider-Man will get his own solo movie in 2017, but will appear with other heroes before that in a Marvel movie, which many expect will be Captain America's Civil War. That lands next summer. Some of the biggest stars in the world are finally returning to the small screen. ABC has greenlit a new primetime series featuring the Muppets. It will chronicle their personal lives, including their relationships and behind-the-scenes troubles. Kind of sounds like a reality show, but because it's the Muppets, it will probably be more genuine. Kermit, Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, and all the others will be back, including the more obscure Muppets that you may not remember. This will be the first primetime Muppet show in decades and follows their recent return to the big screen. The show will premiere this fall.
I'm attracted to pigs.
All right, two fun things to talk about in the Rundown here is one of the funnest, is that a word, people I know, Marissa Roberto.
I would be one of the funnest people you know.
Yeah, the Muppets and Spider-Man, come on, how do you miss with those?
Well, you can't.
The Muppets on television again in a new format, definitely lifting from Modern Family and shows like that, The Office.
For sure.
Yeah, what do you think?
Shows that I am so excited about this.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this trailer. I love the Muppets. How do you not love the Muppets? And I love that they're catering to the older generation now, I feel like, because we grew up with them.
I'll tell you something, when I saw the Jason Segel Muppet movie, I was so emotional. I thought I was gonna bawl. I couldn't, and I didn't know, because I was just like, okay, the Muppets are back, and I like Jason Segel, let's see.
Derpy-doop.
But there's so many callbacks to like a younger, innocent time, and I loved that movie. The second one was okay, there's some fun stuff in it.
I believe that they're real. I want to see their real life drama.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna see in this TV show.
I'm excited, and I think the freedom of television and the sort of ongoing story development of television is gonna be really fun.
You know what I'm really excited about? Doing the red carpet for the show.
Yeah.
And meeting these guys in person.
Yeah, there'll probably be a Comic-Con. Good call.
Yeah, I know.
All right, now we've got a new Spider-Man, and it's Asa Butterfield, and I've been really impressed with this kid. I thought he did a fantastic job in the underappreciated Ender's Game movie.
Yes. Well, I'm just really sad about Garfield.
Yeah.
I'm really sad that I'm not going to see him as Spider-Man anymore, and so I can't jump on board and be excited about this just yet. I feel like I have to mourn Garfield first.
Yeah.
But I think he will be a great Spider-Man.
I just think that Asa Butterfield and a younger Spider-Man is a good move. Obviously, we're going to see a little bit of, the geek sort of trying to overcome all of his inadequacies as the Spider-Man character.
Maybe so this will be a little geekier, because Garfield was cool.
He was too cool, yeah.
He seemed pretty cool to me.
Absolutely, and I think now we get to see this boy become a superhero, and I'm excited to see what they do with this, even though it's another reboot and it's the third Spider-Man.
And we're already drowning in superheroes.
And we have so many, but this is such a phenomenal character.
Yes.
He really is such a wonderful character, and if he's back in the Marvel fold, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But right now, it's time to talk about something deadly.
It's not Michael Caine.
Not Michael Caine.
How will you get here? Maddie, what's going on? They're coming.
This story is the story of the Bowen family who are at a crossroads. They've become accustomed to a certain lifestyle, a certain slice of the American dream that's gotten just a little bit further away from them in the last few years. And as we meet them, they're downgrading their life, their expenses, and they're moving into a house that's charming, but a little bit less than what they're used to. And very quickly, through the eyes of their young son, Griffin, we begin to get a sense that there is something off in this place. There's a feeling, there's an energy, there's a mood that begins to raise the hairs on the back of his neck.
I think the art of suspense building has something to do with timing and delivery and playing upon audiences' expectations. You know that they want to see what's behind that door, and you, as a filmmaker, sometimes milk that character's walk toward that door, and then you sometimes distract him to give him a downbeat where they're off guard, then you hit him with a punch. So it's a little bit like comic timing, I think, the art of building suspense. And Gil's not just a journeyman at it, but I think he's slowly becoming a master, seeing some of the dailies from this film. He really is doing a very good job.
A haunting and a poltergeist was separated between basically the dynamics of how they function. A haunting is usually connected to a location, a physical place, an object. The haunting usually stays within those domains of that physical, whether it be a domain or a specific object. The poltergeist is different in that it's more kinetic. It more interacts with the environment. Sometimes it even follows behind a specific person.
Help me.
The lost people are, as a concept, they're all of us. They're everyone we've lost. They're not individual characters. They're not an old man with a chain dragging across the floor. They're not an old hag with a shroud standing in the corner. They're essentially a group of people who missed their last train out, and they've been stuck for decades, for generations, waiting for that next train to come. And that's been the driving metaphor for them, is that they're grounded, they're stuck, and they're frustrated.
Poltergeist comes out today. Do you believe in ghosts, Vic?
I do. There's actually this one ghost in the office that just keeps yelling.
Oh, that's not a ghost. I think that's Scott.
It is?
Yeah.
Ah, well, me and my ghost review Welcome to Me after the break.
What's the next piece?
No, we're on this for a while.
Can Frank tell her to move
No,
along?
this is what she wanted. She wanted to.
She wanted to sit and eat the cake for an hour.
Yes, not an hour. I think it's a good 5 minutes, though.
This is The Darkness, the original one that Starbreeze Studios developed.
Power is in darkness.
It's a shooter with some really cool and gory supernatural powers, so you can take on enemies with all kinds of great weaponry and gross extensions out of your body. Magic spells and little imps and ghouls that will follow you around. It had a terrific script written by Paul Jenkins, who's a renowned comic book writer and also one of the guys that really helped bring the Darkness comic series to life.
You're the only one I can count on.
Mike Patton actually played the Darkness, and his voice is incredible. He's a singer from Faith No More, which was kind of astounding to hear him in this video game.
Follow you. I will display my power.
It played really well. It was loaded with detail. It was loaded with intelligence and mature themes, and it really lived up to its name. This hits on every level. The Darkness is definitely a classic, and it's definitely worth your time. It's also a buried treasure.
The Darkness, so eerie.
Very eerie, almost as eerie as watching a comic actor try to act like a real actor, as Kristen Wiig does in the new film, Welcome to Me.
That seems really mean considering you love Kristen Wiig
I
so
do love
much.
her.
But anyway, here are Vic and Scott with their review.
I love you, Kristen.
Kristen Wiig is back on theater screens in a new movie called Welcome to Me. Strange title, strange premise.
You're off your meds. You just spent $15 million. You're living in a reservation casino, and you're hosting your own talk show. I thought I asked you not to eat.
It's a banana.
This is a strange film,
Yes.
and I like the fact that it's so unapologetically strange. Kristen Wiig plays a woman who's not well psychologically. She's got problems.
Mental health issues, yeah.
She wins the lottery,
Right.
and so what does she do with her money? She makes her own kind of Oprah television show.
Yeah, she's totally obsessed with Oprah. She has littered across her apartment video cassettes, VHS cassettes of previous Oprah episodes.
So
And she,
people are with your show,
You
EP.
think?
Yeah, they watch you and they repeat what you say.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And so she can can word for word repeat all of these old past Oprah shows. She's also addicted to all kinds of infomercials. And yes, she does win the lottery. I guess they need to have some kind of crazy premise to make this a contained story.
Yeah. 15 and 54 and 39.
Thanks for calling the California Lottery. If you're calling to report a winning, just say, I'm a winner at any time.
I'm a winner at any time.
And that really sort of escalates her ability to do whatever she dreams of or has dreamt of. And what she dreams of is to build a talk show centered around herself. But she has multiple personality disorder, so different versions and different stories about how she got to where she's at start to kind of come to life and be populated by actors that play different parts of her life in this weird, crazy show.
This movie is absolutely packed with all kinds of AAA co-stars, people who you might not have seen for years. Joan Cusack's in there. You've got Wes Bentley. And there's just seems like there's all these terrific performers who don't really seem to have enough to do or really know why they're there or what role they're supposed to play in this film.
Yeah, it's mostly all centered around Kristen Wiig. She has a lot of screen time. She's chewing a lot of scenery in this thing.
So, you want to talk about current events? No. A show with guests and do interviews? No.
What kind of stuff do you want to talk about?
Me?
The movie feels quite long and it feels a little indulgent. And, you know, when you really kind of break it down, she used to do these kinds of character roles that had, you know, more to them than the surface on Saturday Night Live. There always was this layer of mental illness or something like that attached to some of the roles that she would play on there. And there was a brevity and a, you know, a wonderful kind of like, I want more kind of quality to a lot of those performances. And here you have almost too much of a good thing.
Yeah, it's a vanity project for sure. And I think not just on Kristen Wiig's level, but also on lots of different levels throughout here. My worry throughout the whole thing was that this is a comedy, ostensibly. When you sit down, there's lots of comedic beats, especially in the early parts of the film. And I just thought, well, this is a very serious illness. This woman is seriously sick. And I just thought, let's not go in the trite and expected direction. Let's stay true to the illness. And the movie kind of comes down somewhere in between comedy and respecting the illness. It doesn't quite respect it enough. It doesn't go anywhere satisfying, I think, if you're a moviegoer, and especially if you're a Kristen Wiig fan. I don't know. I just felt kind of exhausted by the end, and I wanted a better movie for her.
All of the supporting characters, and it's amazing because the cast is really rich with terrific performers, are kind of wasted in a way. You know, they're just sort of fringy, and they just sort of come to accept that she's a quirky bird that has to take her meds to kind of see the happy day.
It's not funny. Like, she's a sick woman.
Yeah.
What's the next piece?
No, we're on this for a while.
Can Frank tell her to move
No,
along?
this is what she wanted. She wanted to...
She wanted to sit and eat the cake for an hour?
Yes. Not an hour. I think it's a good 5 minutes, though.
You know, even though it's fun to see a lot of this stuff, it just doesn't coalesce into a really terrific movie.
Give me a score.
Gets a 6.5.
Gets a 5 from me.
Apparently, Welcome to Me wasn't as welcoming as you thought. Have I got that
Oh,
right?
you sing it, sister. And listen, after the break, Vic heads back to the movies, only this time he doesn't bring me, he brings Marissa instead. Apparently, I look a little too much like a very young George Clooney. That's right.
Hey, Vic, he bought it. We'll be right back with that after this.
It's not mine.
What's not yours?
The pen. I've never...
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Dragon Mania Legends, which you can play for free right now.
I got a new one for you today. I chose this one because I have a friend named Zach Cooper, and not because I like birds, because this one is all about the birds. It's called Cooped Up. What you want to do is swipe to pull down and let your birdie fly up to the next level. That's basically all you're doing here, but you're collecting little bugs along the way because you want to feed your bird. But what you really want to do is avoid the bird bullies. Now, I've met a lot of bird bullies in my life. That's why I hate birds. They're always coming at me and just flying at my head, and I'm trying to avoid them as much as possible. So I don't even really know why I chose a game like this when I hate birds so much, and I was just feeling the rage for these birds as I was dodging them. But I guess that's the fun in it here, because I hate birds so much. So that's what you're doing, you're dodging. But it's definitely one of those things you can just download, play for 5 minutes, and realize that you don't want to see the advertisements anymore, and the game is not worth spending the dough, so why bother? I don't like birds, I don't like advertisements, but I do like free. Cooped Up is getting a 6 out of 10.
Cooped Up? I thought that game was about Marissa's Vancouver apartment. The thing, seriously, is about the size of an airplane bathroom. I don't know how you live in that thing, Marissa. Well, moving right along, Tomorrowland is in theaters. You've got George Clooney, you've got special effects. But before you see it, you've got to see our review.
That's not mine.
What's not yours?
The pen. I've never.
During the previews of a few of the movies we've gone to see lately, I saw a little preview for Tomorrowland and I lost it. I thought this movie looked so great, so the bar was set very high going to the theater for this one. This is starring George Clooney, this is a Disney movie, and Britt Robertson as the young chosen one.
Very RPG-like, right?
Very RPG-like. Well, a lot of these movies that are catering to a younger audience now want to have that one young adult that's the chosen one, so you can relate to that one chosen one, because they all want to feel special, and she's chosen because she's special.
It's interesting that you started talking about this thing from the trailer first, because I think that is the story about Tomorrowland. This is an out-of-nowhere idea from director Brad Bird, and he plays with a lot of really interesting themes in this movie, but I think this has been an incredibly difficult film for Disney to market, and he is riffing on the concept of what if Tomorrowland, the park attraction, was a real place that we could aspire to get to.
Okay, so you've gone to Tomorrowland.
I've gone to Tomorrowland and Disneyland, which is just a section of the park. Disney is scattered throughout this in a literal sense, but also in the IP properties that it contains. The sort of meat of this film is very confusing and very preachy. I think that there was an agenda here from Brad Bird to tell us to be free to imagine, and to dream and cherish escapism.
And then to not just talk about the things we're doing that are destroying our Earth, but to actually do something about it.
And these are like key parts of what the plot of this movie is about. And I don't envy any of the marketers that had to put a trailer together around this, because you are going to see some beautiful CG'd vistas and some great effects. There's so many effects in this movie. It's so animated. And this is from an animation movie director, a champion of animation.
And all those moments are beautiful.
They are, but it also feels a little disconnected from the performance standpoint. I think Clooney is pretty strong, but he feels a little bit out of sync with the younger actors. He has so many scenes with Britt Robertson, who plays Cassie, and she's phenomenal and vibrant and very alive, and he's obviously playing a cranky older guy. They felt a little out of sync. He's always just barking at her, and then snappiness and her intelligence.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, and I felt like there was just too much of that, which made the movie feel really long. This movie felt so long. I yawned a lot, and I felt bad every time.
Nodding.
I know, I felt bad every time I was doing it, because there's still a good message there, there's still a good story, there's still good writing there, but the way it's strung together, there should have been a lot that was cut out, really, because a lot of these moments...
very indulgent,
Yes, a lot of these moments that they had back and forth, it didn't get to me, and I don't know if it's going to get to really any kind of audience. I'm not sure about younger people going to this movie, because there is some violence here. I mean, they really are smashing up these robots.
That's kind of the problem with the film, is that it feels very kid-centric, and then there's bombs going off on screens, and the idea that the world is hopelessly lost, and stark cynicism scattered in amongst all of this cheery, beautiful CG sort of artwork all over the place. And I like its convoluted style, and I like that it's appropriating all of these really amazing sci-fi bits of lore and this time period as well. Like Brad Bird, obviously, he brought us Iron Giant. He's a fan of that 50s style of functionality and look and quality. It just never emotionally lifted me. It never really said, I never said, I'm in the moment and in the shoes with all of these characters.
I did feel that way off the top. I got into it right off the top with this young kid, looks just like Clooney. He's so great, he's so sweet. He brings us into this world because he's dreaming, and he has this little jetpack that he made, and he's so excited to share it, and he brings us to Tomorrowland, and it's so great, it's so wonderful, and I'm in it, and then it just goes into other places, into other cities, and I just don't care enough about everything else that's happening in this movie, which makes me so sad.
Like, this is balls out. Everybody went full on to come up with a very distinct visual style.
There is money in this movie.
A lot of money, and a lot of really top-level actors in this thing. Hugh Laurie has a big part in this thing.
Can we fix it?
it's probably over CG'd as well. I feel like, you know, as big as the picture is, at times it feels like a three-hander with this, you know, fake video game backdrop in there. And speaking of games, I think the movie pokes at our video game consumption a little bit and questions it, but I think it borrows from games like BioShock and Mass Effect in some degree, you know, and Portal.
And all of these games, yes, because it does remind you of a video game. You could play this as a video game, it just wouldn't be very compelling, unfortunately. I love the idea of the story here, but the movie itself was not entertaining enough to see me through.
What are you going to give Tomorrowland?
Honestly, I love you, Brad Bird, but I just did not love this film. It's getting a 5.
Yeah, me neither, unfortunately. 6.5 for me.
Interesting. Tomorrowland is in theaters today, and up next, we crush a Twitter question after these messages.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome back to the Electric Playground. It is time for the Twitter question of the day. This one's from our old friend, Big Fatty Floyd, asking, what does Vic smell like?
Oh, wait, just one second.
Oh, you're actually going to, in real time.
Okay, there's a little musk in there. I'm gonna say Harrison.
Is it right here? Is
that a musk of Harrison?
Yeah, that's my cologne Harrison. That's right.
Your cologne. Will you be selling that soon, or?
No, it's just for me.
Oh, it's just for you. I see.
Stock.
And then it's kind of like you get a little whiff of whatever hair stuff is in there too. I don't know.
Harrison hairspray.
Harrison hairspray. It's Harrison on Harrison. That's what Victor Lucas smells like.
Hard-hitting journalism. I believe this was a 60 Minutes report before we put it here on EPN. All right, remember you can get caught up on all kinds of great stuff, including full episodes on our website, epn.tv.
So we have more coming for you in the next episode of EP Daily, including a look at the new game Rocket League.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
You've got to jump, you've got to double jump, and then you've got the rocket. So what people learn to do is you can jump and then turn your car, and you can actually boost into the air and fly into balls and other cars. If you hit other cars fast enough, they'll actually explode, and then you score goals, and then everybody's cheering. Woo! So it's an amazing game, especially because we have split screens, so you can play in the living room, you can play online with friends. I mean, there's just so many ways to have fun.